the Primitive Patterns Podcast. It's time to live your mystery. All right, welcome back to another episode of the Primitive Patterns Podcast. Boys, how we doing? Colesy just headed out today, so it's just the boys again.
Just the boys. Doing great, buddy. It's been an epic few weeks with Colesy, with the retreat. Just overall, it's been fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was obviously unreal having that guy here. Everybody loved him. What else do you expect? Colesy's an absolute beauty. Sucks to see him go, but we're also not too far behind. We only got a few more weeks left here in Guatemala, and then we're back at it in Canada, so get ready. Primitive Patterns, headquarters, get ready. Boys are coming back. The boys are coming back refreshed, feeling good, ready to give you our all. I think a big part of coming back and feeling so good is just having such a good winter and connecting with people. And that kind of, I guess, will segue us into what we want to talk about today, which is just the importance of real human connection. And I think being in a small community, but a pretty tight-knit community here in Guatemala has really shown us the importance. Not that our community back in Collingwood isn't tight-knit, but it's a little bit different when you're in a smaller place like this. And when you're walking down the streets, you just see the same people every single day. And I think we experienced that big time too with the retreat group that we just had down here. If you guys want to maybe touch a little bit on the retreat and how that went. And yeah, we brought a group of 10 people down. We know everybody. A lot of the people that came down are clients of ours at the gym. Another guy, he's a designer for us with our apparel. Wicked dude. First time meeting him, Brian Gibbs, legend. And then girl named Emma, and that was a crazy connection because we first met her on our first ever retreat in Nicaragua in 2018, I think it was. She came on that retreat. So it's been like 5 or 6 years, whatever the number is, since we've seen her. And like 2 weeks before the retreat, she reached out and one thing led to another. She showed up on the beach. So that was a cool connection to see her again. I've only seen her twice in my life, both times in different Central American countries, but that was a cool moment. But yeah, just having that crew down, and we rented a nice villa on the beach and everybody stayed together. And it is cool to see how tight a group of people can become, even though some knew each other, some didn't, over the course of a short week, when you're valuing connection and doing things together that are going to make your body, your mind, your soul feel good, whether it's having a campfire, looking up at the stars, eating amazing meals by a couple amazing chefs that we had, running workouts, just spending time together, getting to know each other. I think that real human connection, obviously the online world and the online space is great, and there's certain connection you can make, but nothing touches being face to face with people. And
yeah, I think the coolest thing for me about retreats is that, like, of course you have a schedule and you're doing some funky, cool stuff, but at the end of the day, with every retreat we've ever run, what makes it so good and what people look back on the most is just the connection they make with the people that come. Like real connection. You're doing things with them all day. You're talking, you're having dinner, you're laughing. And at the end of the week, just seeing, yeah, people know each other a little bit, but a group that might not be together in that way just form like legitimate relationships and friendships. And like, it's almost, to me, yeah, you set the tone for the retreat with the place you book and the schedule, but the magic of it is just people in the real fucking world coming together, taking a break from their everyday life and connecting and forming beautiful relationships and bonds, and realizing how important that is, and how specifically when you're back home, how easy it is to push time with friends and family to the side. We stack our lives with a bunch of other shit that we deem more important, but at the end of the day, I think everyone can agree the foundation of life is friends and family.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a week like the retreat week just really does go to show that you really have to make time to engage in those sorts of things, like whether it's working out outside with a group of people that you're tight with, getting together for dinner, or just hanging out and talking. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant. Now that like kind of sounds a little bit weird because we were just in a really nice house on a oceanfront in Guatemala, but nothing that we were actually doing on the retreat was extravagant. You know, we weren't like going on big sailboats and spending a lot of money to do things. It was really just hanging out, working out, eating food together. And like you said, when you're back home and work is busy and maybe you have kids and family life is busy, it's like, are you actually taking the time and making the time? Because that's something that is super important, is putting in the effort to make time for yourself to be with people that you love, that you enjoy being around. And you just have to do like the basic things. Like I said, move with them, eat with them, talk with them. Those are the things that really, or try new things with That's other people yeah. too. Like one of the best experiences on the whole retreat was the group that we had down. There wasn't a group of surfers, and we got them on surfboards. We got some coaches, and we were all in the water together, learning a new activity. And like the way that you saw people light up, and you know, that's a memory that they're going to carry with them for the rest of their life. So really just making a conscious effort to do things with people that you love that have some form of novelty, I think is also super important. Yeah, that novelty and stepping out of your comfort zone a little bit and doing it with a community of people. Because that surf lesson, so a bit of background information, like Jake said, none of them were surfers. Maybe a couple people had surfed once or twice in the past, but that was it. And we organized a surf school local to El Paredon. We train a couple of the surfers, and they're pro surfers. One of the kids is the Guatemalan champ. His name is Carlos, absolute weapon. And then the female champ of Guatemala as well. Her name is Tizzy. Amazing people. And they've put this school together, and there was like 10 coaches, and everybody was definitely a little nervous heading into the surf lesson. For a good reason. Like the ocean can be pretty chaotic here. And if you've never been on a surfboard before, you're not the most confident swimmer, it's a little intimidating. But the whole group, it was novel to them. They were all a little nervous, but they were in it together. And I found like that moment after that first surf lesson, which was also so sick to watch from the beach. Big shout out to the coaches, because they were amazing coaches, but everybody got up, everybody was catching waves, and it was like an absolute highlight. And how fired up the whole group was after that surf session. Like that's what really, like that was the moment that gelled the group and brought them together, because they did it as a team and they were all nervous and they were all excited, but getting out of the water and cracking a beer after was like, that was all time. That was unreal to watch. And I'm sure everybody on the retreat can vouch for that. Like diving into a new experience and a new environment and something that's a little out of your comfort zone with a group of people is such an amazing way to cultivate that sense of community.
And on that note too, like we all see on social media, like there's all this talk about healing, like everyone's healing from something, which is great, I guess, if you need it. But how healing is it to just watch a sunset with people, have some meals together and laugh, go learn a new skill, smoke a joint, have a beer or two, just like reconnect with social connection, with nature, with a bit of adventure. You can go home feeling so fucking refreshed and so clear in your mind, and the ability to reprioritize what matters just through like basic human things and going, oh yeah, I remember, like that's important to me.
Yeah.
I think that's healing as fuck.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you kind of just touched on it there, but it's like maybe a little bit less of an emphasis on healing and a little bit more of an emphasis on
Connecting.
enjoying and connecting.
Yeah.
Like that's some of the most healing stuff in the world, just connecting with people and enjoying your time and realizing that like it doesn't take something extravagant to really feel connected and to feel connected with people and to really enjoy yourself. Like it's the basic stuff.
Yeah. And I'll bring up the example of mom. Shout out our mom. She's a legend.
Love you.
You know, she's dealt with some stuff over the course of her life and over the past few years, and definitely has her ups and downs. But some of the happiest times I see her is just literally hanging around people, talking shit, playing a sport, like nothing extravagant, just like the basic foundational part of being human, which is connecting with people. And that's some of the times I see mom her happiest.
Yeah. And it's also not hard to find that answer. Like hopefully people listening, like hopefully you have a good connection with your family, or there's a community out there that you feel very connected to, that you love them and it's reciprocal and they love you. And if somebody asked you, you know, you can swap your life right now and you can become a millionaire, you can have the yacht, you can have all the material things, you can go wherever you want, but that community, whether it's family or friends, is no longer a part of your life, it's a pretty fucking easy answer as to, are you going to take that offer or are you not?
Yeah.
Like, chances are, for the most part, people are going to say, hey, I can't leave those people that I love. Like, they are at the core of who I am, and like in my heart, that's what I care about most. And so I think it is a pretty simple answer that most people know. And we've mentioned this term before, but it's like remembering what's important to you and experiencing something like coming together with that group of people, letting your guard down, doing something fun, shooting the shit, and connecting with them can be one of the most powerful ways of remembering this is important. And in the same breath, that's healing.
Yeah. So. And also just super beneficial to your life from the standpoint of like self-improvement. I think when you have a community of people that care about you and you care about them, those are the people that are always going to like tell it to you straight or like want to see you do better. So like, hey, come work out, me and the girls or me and the guys, like we're going for a workout in the park or we're going for a hike on the trail. And maybe if you're like not feeling your best that day, but you have a group of people that really care about you and you care about them and you always feel good when you're with them and they're pushing you to do things. Like, I think just from a self-improvement standpoint, having a community of people that support you is always just going to make things easier, for a lack of a better term, when it comes to doing things that you should be doing that are good for you.
Yeah. And we say it all the time too. The online space, there's a bunch of people that we look up to, that we follow. We value what they have to say. We don't necessarily know them. So the one way that we get to interact with them, and a lot of people are in the same boat, is through a lens, through a screen. They get to hear them talk, or, you know, somebody listens to this podcast, maybe they value it. But the whole online space doesn't fucking stack up at all to that real human connection. Never. And I feel like that's where we know our strength is. Full transparency, you know, we've tried some online stuff in the past, and it's never like taken off. But anytime people meet us and they feel our energy and we get to interact with them, I feel like that's where we excel. But I think for most people, from like an emotional standpoint, a health standpoint, what's going to help you excel is finding real people in real time and engaging with them there, not necessarily over a screen. Not that that's a bad thing. It's a good tool, but yeah, maybe veer away from that a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we're going to get into a space in the next decade where people value human connection more than ever because it's becoming scarce. And I think a lot of people are beginning to realize, because this is really, you got to think, the first generation where, you know, you didn't knock on the fucking door to have your friends come outside, or you didn't just meet at the local coffee shop to talk shit, where we've transitioned to doing more things over screens. Yeah. But I think people are really realizing, like, yeah, this is a great tool, it's helpful, but I need to fucking look you in the eye. I need to feel your energy. I want to talk to you. I want to see every little emotion on your face when you talk about A, B, or C. Like, the idea that we're just going to transition away from that, to me, is a complete load of shit.
Yeah, I think so too. And like, I think over the last, whatever it's been, decade, 2 decades, where the internet has really become a prominent thing, maybe connecting with people in a social setting for a lot of people has become, in their mind, like a more difficult thing to try to do, to try to like put themselves out there. But it's like anything else, like you have to put in the effort and you have to make the commitment to say, I am gonna, you know, meet up with my friend. How many times do you say, oh, we got to go for a coffee. Oh, you guys got to come over for dinner. And we talk about all these things and then it doesn't end up happening. And most of the time that's just because you're not actually like committing yourself to it and like putting in the time to be like, this is happening. And it's just so good for the soul. And it's something that like just needs to happen.
Yeah, that was definitely the biggest takeaway from the retreat, from this experience in Guatemala. But I'm also so fired up in a way to get back home too, and get back to that community and be able to connect with them, get back to the gym, back to the boys, back to the family.
Hell yeah.
And be able to have a good time, because the train doesn't stop here, boys.
No, I mean,
going.
We don't got to beat a dead horse. I think we got our point across
Done.
here. Like, literally just make time to connect with people. You're never going to regret it. It's the basic foundational thing we all need. if you're lacking human connection, I don't care what meditation practice, supplement, or thing you do, there's going to be a gaping hole. So go fill it with a fucking coffee and a fucking, a croissant?
Maybe. And hey, maybe a potential 2026 Primitive Patterns El Paredon retreat. You know, I'm just saying, I'm not trying to make this an ad, but it kind of feels that way. So I'm going to put that out there. 2026 Primitive Patterns El Paredon, Guatemala. Be there, be square. Let's connect, baby. Let's connect.
Nice. Short episode. I love it, boys.
Cheers.
See you guys on the next one.
Adios.
The Primitive Patterns Podcast. It's time to live your mystery.